Thank you for staying with us. We are back with more information. Don't forget, we are broadcasting from El Dorado Royal Spa Resort by Carisma, a beautiful adults-only hotel located in the heart of Riviera Maya. And now, excellent news regarding connectivity between Mexico and the U.S. But this time, we don't mean air connectivity, but rather the construction of a brand new pedestrian bridge that will ease travelers crossing the Mexico-U.S. border. A 45 meters long pedestrian bridge, the Cross Border Express, is being built to connect Tijuana International Airport in Mexico to San Diego's Otay Mesa community in the United States. The main purpose will be to serve millions of passengers crossing the border, which will help decrease waiting times and optimize resources. Funding for the project is coming from the private sector. This project will make things easier for people crossing from the U.S. to Mexico to use the Tijuana airport, given that this facility has more flight routes to different destinations in Mexico and can occasionally have more affordable rates than those offered for some international routes programmed by San Diego International Airport. People crossing the border to get to Tijuana's airport are usually delayed by long lines and waiting times to get into Mexico and vice versa. The bridge offers an innovative approach to solve part of the problematic. The Mexican side of the bridge is being built and has recently shown visible progress. Construction of the U.S. side should begin in the upcoming month of March. It's projected to be a 95,000 square feet facility with indoor and outdoor parking, waiting areas for passengers and visitors, convenience stores, food and beverage stations, as well as ground transportation and bilingual customer service. The CBX, the Cross Border Express, will have a fully functioning customs area in the U.S. operated by the Customs and Borders Protection. On the Mexican side, Immigrations and Customs of Mexico will be regulating the entry of passengers who will only be permitted entrance with a valid ticket. Cross Border Express will be up and running by the end of the year and will provide easier access for those traveling between the U.S. and Mexico, or even to those seeking to connect to other parts of the world, taking advantage of the fact that Tijuana offers flights to different cities in the U.S., Canada, Latin America, Europe, Asia, and of course, different parts of Mexico. And now, for a fascinating species that can only be found in the waters of Xochimilco, a creature that could hold the secret to, yes, eternal youth. For some people, this slithering slime-coated axolotl is a creature one would not normally want to bump into, much less in the water. For the ancient Aztec rulers of what today is Mexico City, this creature was a divine being, the twin brother of Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent itself. Their slightly outlandish appearance aside, today axolotls are threatened species of amphibians that can only be found in the waters of Xochimilco borough of Mexico City, a place that in present days holds what is left of an Aztec network of canals that are connecting different parts of the Valley of Mexico. It's considered now as a World Heritage Site by the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, better known as the UNESCO. Gifted with fascinating amphibian features, the axolotl is able to reach adulthood without undergoing metamorphosis and has an astounding ability to regenerate itself. Remarkably, this trait is not limited to their limbs. Vital organs such as the heart and parts of the brain can also be regrown. They also seem to live as perpetual adolescents. Axolotls are interesting beyond regeneration because they seem to cheat aging, according to biologist Randall Voss, who leads the Salamander Genome Project at the University of Kentucky. Quoted by an article in Al Jazeera, he described how they retain juvenile features such as their skin and gills until they die. Scientists believe that learning about the axolotls RNA sequence could be the key not only to saving human lives by regenerating tissue, limbs, and spinal cord, but it may also lead to the prevention of aging. Sadly, if we don't start acting soon, the secret may be lost forever. Unfortunately, recently there has been a dramatic decrease in this creature's population. The National Autonomous University of Mexico published a study regarding the species numbers, revealing alarming results. Back in the year 1998, the waters of Xochimilco held approximately 6,000 axolotls per square kilometer. Only 10 years later, in 2008, the number of specimens found in the same habitat was reduced to only 100 per square kilometer. In 2014, there was in fact less than 1 per square kilometer. This appears to be the result of urbanization, water pollution, and the invasion of exotic fish like carp and tilapia, introduced in the early 80s with the intention of helping feed the local communities. Awareness is growing among the local fishermen who are playing a crucial role in this species' survival by restoring the area's flora and fauna, recovering trash from canals, and cooperating with ecologists. Even though the number of axolotls have been critically reduced to a few specimens, there is still hope for this ancient relative of the ancient Aztec gods. Maybe saving the Mexican salamander will allow science to develop a way of prolonging human life, perhaps even indefinitely. And in other news, freedom of expression, emotions, everyday stories, and thoughts are portrayed across Mexico's walls, a collective movement that is creating social impact through street art. As a way of expressing social discontent, the urban art collective La Pistola stencil, a portmanteau of the words lapis and pistola, both the Spanish words for pencil and gun respectively, portrays current social and political issues on Mexico. These artistic expressions have become an icon in the streets of Oaxaca and also cities around the entire world. La Pistola Stencil is an urban art collective made up of graphic designers Rosario Martinez and Roberto Vega, and architect Yankel Valderas, all three of them from the state of Oaxaca. They got together to express their feelings and also represent the voices of the voiceless, realizing that their work portrayed on a poster would not make the same impact than that on an entire wall. The collective chose a different way of expressing their struggle. Instead of a violent attempt to grasp the attention of people, they chose to use stencils and canned paint as their tool of choice, of course, through the use of striking, aesthetically pleasing images as well and well-thought-out composition. Elements that together create powerful messages. The creative process begins with the inspiration which comes from everyday situations, anything that has a reason to be put on a wall, stories, protests, actions, messages that the artists feel the need to put out there and transmit to an entire audience. Afterward, it is time to conceptualize the idea together with the space they have to work on and the idea of the entire piece. They then decide to work with stencils, screen printing, or a mixture of both. Often they combine them, depending on what they want the finished product to look like. Their images have made an impact in different cities in Mexico and have been presented in nations such as Cuba, the US, Spain, Italy, and Sweden. In fact, they are currently exhibiting at the Rich Mixed Cross Art Center in East London. This exhibition will be open until February 28, 2015. Every single mural La Pistola has actually created can be considered as an act of solidarity, and some may even call them visual poetry. a revolutionary expression through art created by a team of 3 creative Mexicans that simply want to express their feelings, shout out their thoughts, and give voice to the voiceless. This was all for today. Thank you so much for joining us, the entire crew at Mexico News Network. Remember, we are broadcasting and shooting from El Dorado Royal Spa Resort by Charisma, a gorgeous setting nestled within the heart of the Mexican Caribbean, an adults-only resort, excellent for couples for all over the world. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back next time with more information about Mexico and the world.